Hello everyone and welcome to our card review for Boomsday Project. We're going to be looking through Mage right now. We're going to be rating the cards on a 1 to 5 scale. If you haven't checked out the rest of the videos, I'm just going to run through the scale now. 1 are your trash unplayable cards. 2, your fringe playable or niche tech cards like Dire Frenzy, Masihara. 3, playable in some decks like Life Drinker. 4, staple in multiple decks like Houndmaster Shore for Hunter. 5 are your meta-defining decks. These are either staples in a lot of decks across the meta, very common cards you have to play around, or they're a deck-defining, an archetype-defining card, which is relevant in the meta, like Shadowwalk, for instance. Okay, Pandemonia, so let's jump straight into Mage here. And first up, we have Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Luna's Pocket Galaxy is a 7-mana legendary spell. Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. Wow, that's a powerful effect.
So yeah, it's a kind of card that immediately screams combo time. Like, I don't think you genuinely just change the cost of minions in your hand to 1, and then, do nothing.
I was dancing the combo time. Anyway, I actually think that this
Oh boy.
this effect is actually very very hard to actually grasp. I think the big thing here is that you still have to draw all these cards. So for any kind of combo, they still have to be in your deck. And that's a major issue with that. And secondly, even after you spend 7 mana doing nothing, you still have to find turns to do the other stuff. So, I mean, like, the best argument you can make is you can play this and then Aluneth and then, like, yeah, all your minions are 1. So you can play them all, even though you're drawing them all. But who even cares? Like, you're just, if you spend 2 turns playing Aluneth and Luna's Pocket Galaxy, you're probably dead. So I'm just really not convinced by this
too
card.
tedious to set up, right? So it's a kind of card that people would definitely try to build a combo deck out of.
Yeah.
But it might kind of be in the way of, it might be a control killer kind of deck, right? Where it just like dies to aggro.
Sure. Like when you can actually spend time doing nothing, then it's fine. And even then, you still have like the percentage chance that you just draw all your other stuff before Luna's Pocket Galaxy or the other way around. So you have to mitigate for that, and that makes it even worse. That means more time you spend doing very little. So I'm not really sure that this is even the best combo like OTK Mage or OTK deck for Mage. I think there's actually other cards in Mage here that just facilitate more like well-known combos that already exist, like with the Leyline Manipulator stuff. So I'm going to give Luna's Pocket Galaxy a 2, but that's really just a hopeful 2 because I like combo cards and I'd like to see this effect maybe be playable. But realistically, it's actually probably really bad. Don't be crafting this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, initially I was thinking of giving it 3, then I was like, wait, it's probably a lot more situational, and it's not going to see it that much. I mean, it will see play in like 1, maybe 2 sort of niche decks, so it also has to be a 2 for me, unfortunately. It's the kind of card that you want to see succeed, right? Like, I would like to see it be good. But
yeah, but not too good, otherwise it gets disgusting.
Sure, yeah, okay, sure. Otherwise, it kind of bends the meta around it. Like, we've seen way too many decks where it's happened, right?
Yeah. But moving on to a card that does look a little bit more hopeful, Stargazer Luna.
3 mana, 2/4 legendary minion. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. So there's some. If you saw the spoiler,
The release
like
video for Luna's Pocket Galaxy, yeah.
Pocket Galaxy, you saw them use like Stargazer Luna to do like insane combos. Obviously, that was a bit too like Happy Christmas Land.
I was way happy Christmas lad.
But Stargazer Luna though does scream like combo, but like a little bit different kind of combo, right? Because it's almost like a miracle kind of style.
Yeah. I think of it a lot more along the lines of like Pseudo Gadgeter and Auctioneer, where you can chain those draws off the top of your deck together. And if you're playing a deck with a low enough average mana cost, you can probably make that work. And I think Stargazer Luna is kind of a powerful draw engine from that perspective. The problem being you need to be able to play every card you draw, right? Like
otherwise it just stops.
Yeah. So that means A, mana cost needs to line up, and B, they need to actually be cards you want to play. So you need to find the kind of deck where you can't be playing Stargazer Luna and Doomsayer, for instance. Because if you draw the Doomsayer, fine, it's cheap, but you don't really want to play it. So I think
Sure.
Stargazer Luna's effect is extremely powerful. 3 mana 2 body is not that bad. Sometimes it's just playable on 3, against like some aggro decks and stuff. Most of the time you maybe get 2 or 3 cards out of this, and if you're playing like cheap burn, and some of like the 1 mana spells in Mage, I think that could be some of the most powerful Stargazer Luna moments. And then of course there's the combination with Sorcerer's Apprentice that looks pretty appealing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the dream is right. You get like Stargazer Luna, Sorcerer's Apprentice. Like let's say, really dreaming land is double Sorcerer's Apprentice, and here we go. Let's draw the rest of my deck and burn your face kind of vibes, right?
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be playing a lot of Mage decks, and I think she's gonna define them a lot. So like, she's actually gonna be like, I'm gonna give her a 5. I think she's that good.
I think Stargazer Luna is a very good card. I think Mage is a very bad class right now. It is almost unplayable, I'd say, at like top tier level without Ice Block. That's largely the reason I think Mage is terrible now, because their cards have been balanced around that for so long. So I think Stargazer Luna is a 4, but I don't think she's gonna see play. Like I think it's a very powerful card for a decent number of Mage decks. It's not every Mage deck. I don't think Control Mage decks are gonna play it, for instance. But I think Stargazer Luna is a 4. I definitely can't give it a 5. I just don't see that deck. I don't see the Mage decks being meta-defining in any way.
Sure.
Next up, we have Astromancer. Astromancer, 7 mana, 5/5, epic battle cry. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size. This is just terrible. I mean, the amount of work you have to put in to get it to be good is a little bit too much. I mean, we're talking 5 or 6 cards up, I think, before it's even reasonable. And I mean, that means you have to not be playing cards, but you also want to still be a relatively proactive strategy. If you're like a reactive strategy, like a control mage, you'd rather just play something like Dragoncaller or Alana, which is always going to be better for you. If you can just play your normal board clears and then Dragoncaller Alana. Whereas Astromancer, it's super weak to me. It's an easy one.
I think it's semi-playable. Like, I think there could be a deck where it becomes really powerful because of its effects similar to Spy for Summoner. So I think it's 2. But that's me being obviously a little bit optimistic that a deck does this, like hand mage exists, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, the hand mage effect is just way too late even here. So I think we can just move on to unexpected results though.
Unexpected results. 4 mana, epic spell. Summon 2 random 2-cost minions, and this is improved by spell damage. So the cost of the random minion generated is improved by how much spell damage. If you use spell damage +1, you get 2 3-cost minions, and so forth.
Well, if you have spell damage +1, you get 2,
you get 2 3, and if you get spell damage +2 4 with cost minions, etc.
The obvious synergy with this is with a card that we're gonna be seeing just now, Celestial Emissary. But by itself, I think Unexpected Results is terrible. I think the 2-drops in this set in particular are really bad to come out of Unexpected Results, which means there's never going to be a nice position in the meta where the 2-drops get much better for it. Because the 2-drops in this set, there's a lot of like 2/1s and, like Battle Cry kind of specific minions. So I think Unexpected Results is actually just a 1. I actually think it's bad, even with spell damage. I think you're putting in too much work for that.
Yeah. Once again, I don't know, like, I'm a bit, like, it's a card I think has potential because of this, like, spell damage. So probably by itself, it's bad. But with spell damage, I think it's not too bad. So, like, I think it's going to give it 2 borderline 1. I'm the optimist.
It's nice having Christmas every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, the thing is, I don't sure the 2-drops are bad, but like it's in a world where like you get like 2 3-drops or 2 4-drops. I think it's pretty solid. That's the thing.
I don't think that's a thing though. But anyway, we can move on to another terrible mage card.
Oh boy, yes. Okay, this one we can both agree. So tell us, what is the next card?
Meteorologist is a 6 mana 3/3 rare battle cry. For each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. I mean, you loved Astromancer. This is another hand mage card, right? You're gonna go all in and play hand mage with Meteorologist, aren't you?
No, unfortunately, seven mana 5/5. I mean, 7 mana 5/5 that potentially gave me a big drop. First, a 6 mana 3/3 that does a little bit of damage based on number of hands. I mean, basically, the most this is 9 mana, and the real question is I mean 9 damage.
Yeah.
I mean that's basically the cost of 2 Cinder Storms.
Or just the greater arcane missiles. It's like a worse version of that almost.
Yeah, sure.
Or possibly a better version depending on the board, but yeah.
For all of that, I'm getting a 3/3 body, and I have to make it work. No, thank you.
No, this is just a flat out one. Don't ever play this.
Yeah,
it's
one.
terrible.
Yeah.
I think we can move on swiftly from there.
The next one is Celestial Emissary, a 2 mana 2/1 elemental, and it's a rare. Battle cry your next turn. Your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. So the immediate, obviously this kind of synergizes with unexpected results quite well, but I mean it also I think it's quite powerful because it synergizes with, just your damage spells, your arcane missiles, your frostbolt. So I think this is a relatively decent card. Not every deck wants it.
I mean, it does have the elemental tag, which is sometimes relevant. The fact that it has 1 health, we can talk about pinging it with Frostlich Jaina, but I actually don't think that's relevant because in those decks you'd probably rather play Blood Mage Thelnos a lot of the time. You don't necessarily need the extra 2 spell damage over the 1. So I'm not sure that really matters much. But I think actually for some aggressive mage decks, it could be decent. But it's definitely a card that's probably even close to the cut in those decks, I think. So I'm just going to give it a 2 at best, I think.
Yeah, 2 for me as well.
And then next up, we have a card, speaking of 2s. There's at least some amount of 2 in this card. We have Astral Rift. It's a 2 mana spell. Add 2 random minions to your hand. But what I can tell you, 2 + 2 in this case does not equal 4. It equals 1.
Yeah, a straight up 1. Yeah. Random minions, bad.
I mean, 2 random minions, no. Just there's. I mean, this is for the hand mage deck, right? That's the point of it. Turn 1 card into 2 in your hand, isn't it? I mean, I'd rather just draw cards for 1 more.
Yeah, I'd rather just play Research Project or Arcade Intellect. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Easy one.
The next card is Cosmic Anomaly. So this is a 4 mana 4/3 elemental common, so spell damage +2. So this is basically a strict upgrade of Evolved Cobalt from back in the day. I mean, spell damage +2 is quite powerful, I think. But a 4 mana 4/3 body, I'm not completely sold on it. So, for me, I'm going to give this a 1. I think this is basically unplayable.
I think it's actually could have some fringe possibilities for usage in some aggressive decks. If you're comboing it with arcane missiles, it's not that bad later on. Shooting Star is the other card that kind of jumps out as a way for you to fight back on the board and give yourself more time.
And the flavor, right? Shooting Star, Cosmic Anomaly.
Yeah. I mean, and they were released together. That's definitely the kind of intention here. So I think Cosmic Anomaly is a 2. I think it's better than some of the other cards that you gave 2s, like Astromancer. So I'm going to disagree with you and say that it's a 2.
Okay, sure. Then
and then moving on, we have Research Project.
Research
Project, 2 mana, common spell. Each player draws 2 cards. Crystal. Oh man, what's it? Cold Light Oracle.
Light.
Yeah, so Cold Light Oracle in a spell, which is sometimes just better for mage as well. Sometimes you don't really care about the body. This is definitely something that screams mage combo decks. Just not really sure what mage combo decks there are, or decks where you just don't care about giving your opponent cards, so maybe aggressive decks. And there are actually a lot of instances now where you can tend to burn your opponents. Druids, warlocks in particular, tend to have relatively large hand sizes, even Shadowwalk Shamans as well. So maybe there's some counterplay there where this card could be useful.
Was you going to try, if combo decks become a thing, you try and bull your opponent?
Well, no, I'm not saying you're trying to mill them. I'm saying you use it at an opportune time where you can mill them. It was never the purpose of Cold Light Oracle and the combo decks to mill them. It was just okay, I'll use my other draw now, and then I'll use my Cold Light Oracle, or in this case, my Research Project, when it's also going to mill them.
Oh, sure. Okay.
It's like an added bonus rather than
So
a
yeah, I
downside.
think Research Project is a very powerful. For me, I think it's a 4. I think it's going to see play in 4. I mean, even the aggressive decks probably want it, and the counter decks. So I think
Maybe.
it's a very strong card.
I think it's going to be a little bit meta dependent. I think it will definitely it will definitely be cut in metas where there are more proactive strategies that will tend to empty their hands more. If the metas get very slow, then Research Project can be pretty good. The other interesting thing is if you're like a slower control deck, you don't go further ahead in the fatigue race, if that ever matters with Research Project. If you're just digging for your answers and you don't want to go further ahead in the fatigue race, then Research Project helps there. So I think Research Project is a 3. Although I don't think it's going to see that much play in this upcoming meta because Mage looks pretty bad.
Sure. So then the final mage card we can talk about, Shooting Star. 1 mana common spell. Deal 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to it. So it's like a mini arcane explosion or like a cone of cold without the freeze, basically. So it's like basically cone of cold minus frost nova.
Sure.
And then
I
you
mean,
end up with
I think the big difference with when comparing it to Cone of Cold and how like Cone of Cold, because it's 4 mana, that 1 damage is often pretty insignificant. It's more
yeah.
about the freeze. Whereas with Shooting Star, because it's 1 mana, the 1 damage is going to be more impactful because it's going to be generally on some smaller minions. And in a decent amount of the go wide kind of decks, it's pretty powerful. In particular, like before Fungalmancer, if you get to play like Cosmic Anomaly Shooting Star before Fungalmancer or Celestial Emissary Shooting Star before Fungalmancer, you can clear them up and protect yourself from the Fungalmancer turns. I think right now a lot of the mage decks really struggle at fighting for board, and Shooting Star is a good way of having a spell that's going to help them do that. I actually think it could be pretty powerful. Once again, a little bit meta dependent. So I'm going to give it a 3, but I think, it's definitely going to be more for the kind of Stargazer Luna decks than anything else.
Yeah, Stargazer Luna and like anti-aggro. So like for me, actually, yeah, I was gonna give it a 2, but then I realized it's actually a lot better than the other 2s I've given, so I'm gonna give this a 3. Because I realize it's a lot more playable, and it doesn't require anything to make it work. So
yeah. Okay, and then as always, we have some deck lists to show you, and we're going to be starting off with an aggressive mage deck. So this is very much the kind of secret mage package we have right now. The couple new cards in this, we got Stargazer Luna as an alternate kind of draw engine to Aluneth. Because of the amount of weapon tech we can reasonably expect in upcoming meta, with both Malygos Druid having Twig of the World Tree and like Cube Warlock's weapon, and there's enough reasons to play a little bit of weapon tech. I think having a backup card draw engine is pretty powerful, and for that reason, we've also got a much lower curving deck overall, even including Shooting Star. Mana Worm also just thrives off all of these cheap spells. Even gone for a Research Project over Arcane Intellect, which, once again, I think that's just going to be a meta call as to which one of those two ones is better. But to help facilitate like the Shooting Star, we're playing Black Cat. Because remember, Black Cat's still just a 3-mana 3/3 with spell damage +1 if you don't, if you're playing a normal deck with odd and even cards. So I think that's still serviceable a decent amount of the time in this deck.
would you not really? Is it ever a time where you want Blood Mage Thanos because of the card draw?
I don't think so. I think we've got a decent amount of card draw with like Stargazer Luna and the Research Project and then the Aluneth as well. I think, it's something that if you were running out of cards a lot, you could shift to that. But I think a decent amount of the time you have enough card draw. Plus, you've also got Arcanologist, which is kind of card draw because it gets you your secrets.
Sure. So yeah, this basically is very reminiscent of the current Secret Mage.
Yeah.
You've dropped some of the arguably filler cards like, Amani Berserker and like Life Drinker.
Yeah, and the Arcane Keysmith.
Oh yeah, that's also sure.
Yeah, I think the other option to go with this, and kind of where I wanted to go a little bit, was dropping the kind of secret package altogether, and actually just playing like more cheap spells and other kind of cheap cards to go with the Stargazer Luna. Because when you hit secrets from Stargazer Luna, it's pretty weak. ultimately
Sure.
though, like I couldn't find enough good other aggressive cards to warrant
Mirror
not playing the
image.
secret because, yeah, I mean, explosive runes is just more damage, right? If there was like one or
Yeah.
two more damage spells for mage, then we could maybe get away with that.
If Arcane Blast was his standard.
Yeah, Arcane Blast would actually be a pretty good example. Then we might even consider playing the Cosmic Anomaly as well.
Sure.
So, I mean, ultimately, I think this deck's still going to struggle against a lot of the other board-based decks, which is really where the mage struggles right now. I mean, you are playing Celestial Emissary, it's a 2-mana 2/1. That's not really going to help you fight for the board much. It's going to be all about, comboing that with your shooting stars and stuff. And might even want to put in a second shooting star if the metas are relatively aggressive.
Yeah.
And then next up, we have a Luna's Pocket Galaxy deck. So talk us through what the idea is with this deck, Pandemonia.
So this is one of those heavily convoluted sort of combo plans. So the basic early plan is don't die, right? And eventually, what you're planning to do is you're going to play Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Then your whole, all the minions in your deck cost 1. Then you're going to play like Luna, Source's Apprentice. You're going to draw Archmage Antonidas, as well as if the spells to essentially either Simulacrum or Molten Reflection to copy said Source Apprentices to eventually get a combo where you throw infinite fireballs. So,
and that is, reliant on, once again, you drawing Luna's Pocket Galaxy and playing it before you draw the Antonidas, at least.
Yeah, so you run a lot of cycle, Frost Nova Doomsayer to not die, Blizzard, Flame Strike. So yes, it's kind of, I think it's kind of the idea of what they lean towards with Luna's Pocket Galaxy, but you have to jump through a lot of hoops to make it work. A lot more than like Exodia Mage or Quest Mage of previous times.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, I think Luna's Pocket Galaxy might even be a little bit better in some more normal control decks where you aren't actually going for a combo and rather playing it to get like 1-mana Dragoncaller Alanas and 1-mana Alexstrasza's, Lich Kings, those things when they're still just in your deck and you actually have the time. Whereas this one, I feel like the combo is too often broken just by the order you draw your cards, and that feels like pretty weak to me. But we needed to at least build this to get an idea of how good the deck would be, if it would be any good. In best case scenario, you can just get a 5-mana Luna's Pocket Galaxy off your Primordial Glyph.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, at the end of the day, that's probably actually going to be what you want most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the times the deck works, it's going to be because of that. Or even if you get a Molten Reflection, you can do...
Yeah.
You can do it if you get 1-mana Sorcerer's Apprentices. You can play like 2 1-mana Sorcerer's Apprentices and Molten Reflection with the Antonidas and still do that in one turn, even if the Antonidas costs 7. So...
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very sort of finicky deck, right? That can one thing goes wrong and you kind of don't have a way to win.
Yeah. And you don't really have as many ways as you might like to stay alive. Missing stuff like Frostage Jaina that's going to give you the life gain. You've really just got Arcane Artificer with the spells for life gain and hoping that your Frost Novas and Doomsayers and Blizzards and Flame Strikes can kind of carry you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the hope is that the meta's not too aggressive, right? I mean, any combo mages have always kind of, I think, struggled a lot of times have struggled a bit against aggressive decks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was no different. You have to try and get the pieces before they kill you. So,
yeah.
We'll see if this is any good. I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah. Okay, so overall, how do we feel about Mage? I mean, I think I've made my feelings pretty clear in that I don't think Mage is going to be very good, and I don't think Stargazer Luna is going to be able to carry Mage by herself.
Yeah, I think unfortunately Mage, I mean, even now as we headed towards the end of the Witchwood meta, Mage was like sort of one of the... it had decks, but it was like sort of struggling to...
Yeah.
It didn't have like an abundance of choices. It was Big Spell Mage and Secret Mage, and as much as some of the Mage cards are okay, I have to agree with you. I'm not too optimistic about the Mage. I think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be the absolutely worst class. But I think it's definitely going to be in the bottom half of decks. It's going to be somewhere between middle to bottom. I don't think it's the absolute worst class. I'm not quite sure.
I think Mage will be the worst class.
Really, is that true?
I can't think of another class that's going to be worse. Like Hunter is better. Druid is mild. Druid is like number one.
Yeah, Druid is obviously
Warlock is better off. Paladin is probably better off.
Okay, yeah, so maybe
Paladin might be the one that's closest to bad. Shaman still has Shadowwalk Shaman and even Shaman. Those are fine.
Sure, okay.
I don't see what Mage is doing.
Okay, so maybe Rip Mage.
Yeah.
Maybe Mage is the worst. Rip Jada.
Yeah. But I mean, big spell mage, you can still play that. I'm interested to see how Luna's Pocket Galaxy actually plays in that deck. That's the most interesting place I still think for the
Sure.
card.
I mean, 1 mana Alexstrasz's and 1 mana Syndrogoses.
Yeah, there are some interesting cards in the set. Mostly Stargazer Luna and the research project that actually could be good in the future. But right now, I think Mage is really struggling since it lost Ice Block. That's the card that would have made Luna's Pocket Galaxy infinitely more playable.
Yeah. You missed the Feast Mage days.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's also because they killed Ice Lance. But that's all we have for this Mage review. Make sure you check out our other reviews. We'll be coming with the rest of them over this weekend. And if you want to comment on any of them, you can comment on the YouTube videos. Check out the description for links to our Hearthstone Top Decks pages where we've got all these decks that we've built. And you can also tweet at us at PandemoniaZA on Twitter and at Dib_gaming on Twitter. Thanks a lot, everyone. Until the next video, cheerio.
Cheerio.